Quick question. What's worse than being killed? Most people's answer is nothing. That's kind of the ceiling. 100,000 years ago, a small band of humans huddled around a fire looked at that answer and said, actually, we've got a few options worse than that. And they hurt the body just as much as they hurt the mind. No prisons, no trials, no kings, no laws written on stone. Just a small group of people you depended on for everything, and a handful of punishments engineered to damage someone physically while making absolutely sure they had to live with it in front of everyone for the rest of their life. Today we're going back before kingdoms, before writing, before cities, to look at how early human bands may have combined real physical harm with lasting psychological punishment, and why that combination may have been feared more than death itself. One hypothesis researchers have proposed: a deliberate injury designed to permanently disable, not kill, may have served as one of the more direct ways early bands combined physical and mental punishment without formal weapons of execution. Archaeological evidence from various prehistoric sites shows healed injuries, broken bones set improperly, or old fractures to hands and legs, that some researchers argue may reflect deliberate crippling rather than accident, used as a punishment in bands with no other way to physically restrain a dangerous person long-term. Damaging a hand meant someone could never properly grip a spear again. Damaging a leg meant they could never keep pace on a hunt again. The physical pain was real and lasting. But the deeper cruelty was what came after, watching everyone else in the band do the physical work you used to do every single day while your body permanently reminded you, and everyone around you, exactly why you couldn't. A second option combined physical suffering directly with public humiliation, binding someone and leaving them exposed to the elements for an extended period in full view of the rest of the band rather than exiling them outright. This meant real physical agony: thirst, cold, or heat exposure, insect bites, cramping muscles from forced stillness, stretched out over hours or days rather than delivered quickly. And because it happened inside or at the edge of camp rather than far away, it came bundled with total public visibility. Every person the punished individual knew watching them suffer, unable to help even if they wanted to, because helping meant defying the group's decision. Unlike banishment, this didn't remove someone from the group. It kept them inside it, suffering physically, while their community watched and did nothing, arguably a more devastating combination than either physical pain or social rejection alone. Where modern punishment might separate the injury from the record of the crime, early human bands may have combined both into a single act. Deliberate, painful scarring or mutilation meant to hurt in the moment and mark the person permanently afterward. Evidence of intentional scarification appears across many ancient and small-scale societies, sometimes used ceremonially. But anthropologists studying punishment note that the same technique could serve a punitive purpose: a deep, deliberately painful cut or brand, inflicted publicly, that healed into a permanent, visible mark. The physical wound eventually closed. The pain from receiving it was real and immediate, but the scar outlived the pain by decades, forcing the person to carry the physical evidence of their punishment on their own body, visible to literally everyone they'd ever meet for the rest of their life. A subtler combination: rather than injuring someone directly, a band could assign a punished individual to the most physically dangerous tasks the group faced: scouting near predator territory alone, testing unfamiliar water sources, approaching unknown animals first, effectively outsourcing risk of death or injury onto them specifically. This wasn't an immediate single act of violence. It was repeated physical danger, stacked deliberately onto one person, session after session, until injury or death eventually caught up with them, while the rest of the band stayed safe specifically because someone else was absorbing the risk instead. The mental toll of knowing you'd been selected to face danger first, every time, for as long as the group decided, may have been just as brutal as any single wound. Sometimes, the harshest punishment may not have been causing an injury at all. It may have been refusing to help after one happened. In a world without medicine, an untreated wound, a damaged eye, or a broken leg could permanently change a person's life. By denying care, a group could let the injury become the punishment itself. This kind of injury didn't just cause pain in the moment. It permanently altered what someone was physically capable of contributing for the rest of their life. In a society where your physical ability to contribute was directly tied to your value, your safety, and your standing within the group, the physical loss and the social collapse happened simultaneously, and neither one healed the way a simple wound eventually would. Look at all together. None of them were purely physical, and none were purely psychological. Some researchers suggest each combined lasting bodily harm with a permanent social and mental consequence that may have continued working on the person long after any wound had closed. Because there are no written records from this era, we can't know for certain how any single band actually carried these out. This combination may be part of why these punishments could have been feared more than death. A killing ends suffering the moment it happens. Every punishment on this list appears designed to do the opposite. Cause physical damage once, then let the social and psychological consequences of that damage continue, potentially for the rest of a person's life. 100,000 years before prisons, before laws, before a single word was ever written down, early human groups may have recognized something unsettling. A wound heals. A life spent carrying that wound's consequences in front of everyone you know doesn't. So next time a small injury ruins your week, consider this. One hypothesis among researchers is that ancestors may have understood, deliberately or not, just how much worse an injury could be made to feel when it came bundled with permanent visibility. Subscribe for more stories like this one, and let me know in the comments which of these 5 hit hardest.